Last segment, we said some of the best for last. My friend, Mr. Bob Mangold. And of course, I said, how would you like me to introduce you? Whatever you want. So I did my own, and I even learned a little bit about him. So Bob Mangold is going to tell us how to build an incredibly strong, solid, big organization. And I know all of you know he's the best at overcoming objections. He's also known as the listing coach. That was a new one, Bob. 28 years, 28 years as a lender, 23 as a top producing agent, 9 years as a broker owner, built the fastest growing exit realty franchise in their history before he got as wise as I did, but he got wiser before I did. And coaches agents to build their personal net worth by taking more listings, building buyer teams to handle enormous amounts of leads that they generate. Bob is also in the top half of 1% of the most successful revenue share team builders in EXP. So from Arizona, please help me welcome Mr. Bob Mangold, my friend. It's all yours.
Thank you. So I know what webinar you found then with all that stuff on there.
That was your website, baby.
Yeah, so so hey, I appreciate everybody hanging out this long. So if we're going to talk about building a revenue share, it's you know, while I was on the break, I just thought, how many of you guys could actually envision, right? The way that I talk to people about EXP is my first goal is to help you double your income the first year from production. Years 2 and 3, I want to help you take and replace your transaction income with referral fee income. The truth is, I know when I say that, how many of you guys could actually envision your life where you are making as much or more from referral fee income, which is revenue share, than you can from your production? How many of you guys actually down to your core believe it? And there are the people that have done it have already raised the hand, right? So we're not going to talk about big money anymore. We're going to just, you know, we're not going to talk about, you know, some of us at that higher end of the spectrum, because it's unbelievable. But what do you think would happen right now for the average realtor if they were making $3,000 to $5,000 a month right now? Right? So market slowed down, this time of the year, all that stuff, right? So I hear this all the time. It's like, oh, Bob, the boat, you know, the ship has sailed. Nobody cares about EXP right now. I promise you, if I picked up a phone and called 500 agents right now and said, hey, I'm willing to take and give you $3,000 to $5,000 a month, you want it? I guarantee you they would all say yes, right? The thing is, what would that do to impact their life right now? Forget the big money. What would $3,000 to $5,000 do? It certainly pays somebody's mortgage, right? Probably some car payments, probably some food. Part of what you can do to bring to this is to be able to start to look at this as, hey, I'm actually going to help people change their life. Now, it's up to them. Make no mistake about it, right? I can't make them do that. I can't make them do the work. You know, we do role-playing sessions inside of our revenue share group. And at the end of the day, we only get a handful of people to show up. And so, you know, the reality of it is, if you won't show up to help yourself, how am I going to be able to help you? It's just the way it is. Whether that's taking a listing, whether that's, you know, working with a buyer, like if you want to learn from me how to list at a very high level, you might want to come and role play with me. Well, it's the same with agent attraction. You might want to role play that before you actually go out and do it. And make your mistakes when there's no money on the line, right? So imagine saying, hey, I'm going to go out on a $10 million listing and I'm not going to bring anything with. I'm going to just figure it out when I get in their house. Like, who would do that? Yet we do it all the time, both on the production side and certainly on the agent attraction side. And so one of the first things I'm going to tell you, and in my opinion, the most important, is you need to understand every phase of the compensation plan so that nobody can stump you. if you don't understand it, how would you ever be able to explain it to somebody else? Now, over time, you might forget a few things like, hey, what are the team splits and how does all that have to work? Yeah, we got PowerPoints for that. But the 7-tier revenue share, you need to be able to understand that and explain it. Like I promise you, and I won't call you out on this call right now, but if I started going around and asking questions on the compensation plan, I would promise you that 90% of you won't know the answers. Well, here's what happens to you subliminally, guys. You go, oh, I would talk to that Tom Truong. I know he's a big deal, but I got to wait till I understand this better. And so I put it off and put it off and put it off. Why don't you just understand it so you can pick up a phone or you can meet Tom and go and talk to him? Why put it off? And so subliminally, you sabotage yourself saying, oh, I'm not ready yet. I'm just not ready yet. What are you ready for? You don't have to be ready. He's got to be ready, not you. But you have to start out by understanding. You have to lay the groundwork to do that. And then if you're going to be really smart, you're going to role play with some people. You're going to put it together, right? So every Wednesday at, I think it's 11 o'clock Eastern time in our team suite, we have role playing going on. That's where you go and learn. So you have to learn the compensation plan, number one, right? It's only math. It's not that hard. Number two, you have to practice it so that it becomes completely natural for you to talk to somebody about it, right? Not scripted, right? If you guys have seen me on stage doing the whole objection thing, everybody goes, whoa, that's like, guys, you know why it happens that way? Because I've done that like 10,000 times now. And I did it 9,900 times or 9,800 times without ever being on stage. I just practiced it so that it comes out natural and in my own personality. So if you don't practice, how in the world do you ever get better? And so you've got to invest in yourself and you have to invest the time. And so as some of the leaders on here, you know what, I recommend putting together role-playing time for your group and just do it. Guys, that's where you make your mistakes, right? It's not when money's on the line. Make your mistakes together where it's no big deal. And as I shouldn't say that it's mistakes, it's just get comfortable, right? Because you know how when you first start talking about something and you get tongue-tied and everything? I do too. Everybody thinks, oh, no, that never happens to you. It's like, oh, no, I promise it does. The difference is I just work through it and I just practice it so that I can literally get on stage and take whatever you want to throw at me. It doesn't matter because I've practiced it enough. And so first and foremost, I would tell you to understand the compensation, 2, practice it. And then 3, I'm not a big fan of saying, hey guys, write down on your bathroom mirror why you want to do it. But you need to be real clear on why you want to build the life that you want to build. For me, when I seen the EXP model, it was not about me. It was about my son who had just recently come out of, chemotherapy, and saying, wow, what a way that I could build that if after I'm long gone, I know my family's taken care of. That was my number one thing. And then to set him up in a position that he could go out and build the same thing. So when I'm long gone, he's safe. That was my why. It wasn't anything about the money or any of that other stuff. You have to figure out why it is that you want to do what you do. Because when it happens, I can tell you got a hell of a life, right, Tom?
Yes.
Tom and I traveled really the world, the country for sure. And a lot of the world, we have a tremendous life. But boy, we were grinding. Here's the funny part, guys. We're still out there grinding. I think Tom and I are probably 2 of the harder working people. Brent certainly busts his butt, right? Out there, and yet financially, we don't need to. Why do you do that? Like you got to get clear on why you want to do this.
Change lives, right, Bob? And you know that.
What's that?
Because we are fired up because we know we can change lives.
Yep. Right. So when Chrissy kind of gave you that background, it was on a website. Hey, my goal is to take over the next 2 years and create 1,000 multimillionaires that happen to be in the real estate business. So for me, it's more about how am I doing on my numbers? I might not, hey, I'll give you guys, this is a big audacious goal. But at the end of the day, what would happen if I failed and only did that 500 times in the next 2 years? I just changed generations of families' lives, right? So EXP has not just changed mine. I'm old enough. It's not that big of a deal anymore, right? But it's changed my kids and it's changed my grandkids, and I don't even have grandkids yet. They're set. Simply because of the work that we've done over the last 6 years. Our net worth has increased by tens of millions of dollars in the last 5 or 6 years. I promise you, in the previous 40 years, it didn't increase in the multiples of tens of millions, but it did at EXP. When we were in Denver, I heard Brent say it a great way. Our failures are multimillionaires, right? And he just told the story of one of his agents. She's just been an icon agent. She doesn't care about recruiting. She doesn't care about any of that. But she's made a couple $1 million in stock for free. Where do you go and say, hey, the agents who don't excel still make millions of dollars? What real estate company do you go to and you go, hey, they made millions of dollars because of your business platform? I don't know one. By the way, I don't call them brokerages. I don't call them companies. I call them business platforms. I just go, hey, Bob, the way that I can help you become a millionaire is to take and build leverage into your real estate business. Could I just make a comment? Your current business platform does not allow you to maximize the leverage, and you're probably leaving millions of dollars on the table. Is there a reason that you would want to do that? I love my broker. Do you love them so much that you're willing to leave millions of dollars on the table because they don't offer a platform that allows you to maximize the leverage in your real estate business? Like if I talked to your spouse and told her, hey, Christy, Bob's leaving anywhere from $2 to $10 million on the table because he loves his broker. What do you think about that?
I don't love him that much, Bob.
Exactly.
Love my family more.
And here's the thing, guys. You think I'm kidding. I say that to agents. But yeah. It's like, do me a favor, man. Give me your wife's cell phone number. Well, what do you need that for? Because I'm going to call her and I'm going to tell her how much money you're depriving your family of. And I'm going to think it will spur a conversation between you and her, or her and him, whatever, right? It's going to spur a conversation between the two of you.
Recording in progress.
To decide to maybe build more leverage into your life. And why wouldn't you do that? And they go, I'm not giving you her phone number. It's like, shit, I don't need her. I don't need that anyway. I got this website called truepeoplesearch.com. I'll get her number. I've actually done that before. Because the reality of it is they're leaving millions of dollars on the table. It's my job to help them understand it. And I can't make them do it. I can't do it. But guess what? Hard-headed is not an excuse to make bad decisions. Because I know what it can do for people's family, right? Some of us at these levels, just like you can't even fathom what it can do for families. You just have to get your story out so they believe it. You have to explain what your why is, right? Like, why are you doing this? Why am I recruiting? You can just sell real estate, right? You get the stock at a discount, be an icon agent. There's other ways to build wealth inside of EXP, right? Why are you doing what you're doing? You should share that story with people. This is why I do it. This is why I think it's important. Rogelio, tell me why it would be important for you to replace your transaction income with referral fee income. Why would that be important for you?
Absolutely. That would give me more time for my family to do the thing that I love.
And what would you do with them? If you have more time and you didn't have to worry about the money to do those things, like what kind of things would you do?
I probably can go on vacation, which I never have it before with them.
So you probably could, or you could. Like if money wasn't an issue.
Yeah, I would go on vacation with my whole family.
Yeah, where would you go?
Probably Europe.
Where at in Europe? Europe's a continent. Give me the countries.
At least France.
Why France?
I don't know. I like the big tower. I never
All right.
big. I don't know.
What would you do with your kids there? What would like the family like to do in France?
They are musicians, so we probably go and visit all those plays from the Sound of Music and all those famous things that they have there.
So like if you were able to take that kind of a vacation and you were able to take and do those kind of things, do you think like your kids like 50 years or 30 years after you pass away, like they'll remember that for the rest of their life, won't they?
Yes, absolutely.
So by and large in real estate, we have a couple choices. They can remember my dad worked his ass off 7 days a week, 90 hours a week, and he was a good man. Or my dad figured out how to work smart and was able to take and give us experiences like that time we went to France and we did all this and all that, right?
Yep.
So we can impact your kids in ways that you can't even fathom through the real estate business, right?
Absolutely, yes.
Right. So again, if they at some point they said, hey, I love my broker, or whatever, it's like, I get that you love your broker, but is that broker going to give you those experiences? Why did I ask him the questions that I did, guys?
You wanted to dive down deep and get to the core of what his real why was.
I want him to think about that, right? And if you notice, one of the things that I picked up on very quickly is he kept saying probably. No, definitely. Tom, can we definitely go wherever the hell we want?
100%.
Right? And so it even shows in there's an impediment, subliminally about, well, probably I could do this. No, you can actually do it. I promise. Your why just has to become bigger and to say, hey, that's really why I'm doing this. It's not about the money. The money just buys us what we want. Right. I was having dinner with Gene, I don't know, whatever it was, a month ago. And he said he talked to this one woman who's very, very wealthy. And he said, she says, everybody has the wrong misconception about people who have a lot of money. They think we don't have problems and that our kids aren't, our teenagers aren't goofballs and do stupid stuff. And like, we don't have headaches. It's like, that's not the case at all. We all have headaches. The difference is that I have options. If I want to have my birthday party and it happened to be in France for my teenager, we can have a birthday party in France. I just have more options than somebody who doesn't have money. So money's not going to strip you of your headaches, but it will give you more options. You just have to get clear on why you want to do what you want to do. And it doesn't have to be some grand, I'm going to change the world. Hey, cool. God love you. I promise you. I don't know any broke people that are donating to like the American Cancer Society and, Make-A-Wish and all those other things. I don't know broke people doing it that have huge impact, right? So it doesn't have to be anything for me, it's a very simple thing. I want to take care of my family. And my main driver now is I want to take care of the next generation of my family that I'll probably never know. That's important. I don't know why it's important to me. It just is. I don't know. So y'all got to figure that out first.
Awesome
Because
stuff.
until you do, you won't believe that you can actually do this. I think the number one reason most people don't attract agents, they don't believe they can. No, why would they want to come with me? I don't have anything special. I don't have a big group. I'm not a big producer. I'm not going to be a blah, blah, blah. Guess what? You're the key to the door. What EXP does, it allows leverage, financial leverage. I can get paid multiple ways, right? I can do transactions. I can get stock. I can get revenue share. I have 3 ways to leverage my money. How many ways do you have to leverage your money at Remax? Coldwell Banker, Keller Williams, any of them. You can bust your ass. So if you're cool working the next 40 years to do that, right? I love when I do these things and I got, an 80-year-old agent saying, no, I'm doing it because I love it. I'm calling BS. I don't want to be 80 years old out, putting out open house signs and lock boxes on houses. That's just me. I just don't believe anybody else does. Hey, if you want to do a few deals to stay vital and all that stuff, cool. But it shouldn't be for them to eat. We have the ability. We have the key to the door if we'll simply talk to somebody to open up a life that you could only dream of. And here's the dirty little secret inside of all the EXP rev share groups, all of us with big groups. It's only like 3 or 4 people that made all the difference. You know, we got like 1,125 people. I didn't do that. But I can tell you, one of my people alone, one of my personals alone is responsible for 800 of the 1,100. Guys, that's how it works for all of us. Here's the downside. You don't know which ones it's going to be. The ones you most think will take and go out and kick butt generally are not. The ones that you don't think will do much end up killing it. You only need to find a handful of people that'll just change everything for you. The question is, how do you know which ones? The answer is you don't. So talk to them all. Give them the key to the door. Right? So if I said to, let me just pick on somebody. Diane, do you got a microphone?
I certainly do.
If I said to, hey, Diane, over the next 2 to 3 years, I could turn you into a multimillionaire through the real estate business. Would you want to see the business plan that we put in place?
Without question.
So that's an invitation to a lunch and learn.
Mm-hmm.
Bob, can you say that one more time, please?
Yeah.
What did I just say?
If I can.
Yeah, no, I'm just kidding you. If I can show you how to become a multimillionaire over the next 2 to 3 years in the real estate business, would you want to see the business plan we'd use to do that?
I love that.
Yeah, without
good.
question. That's a great way to put it for sure.
And so I keep talking about this multimillionaire things. Are people really multimillionaires? What do you guys think?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm gonna give you some real estate math that you can do. Take somebody's rev share. Let's say somebody's making $10,000 a month. Right? So $120,000 a year in revenue share. I just use that because the math is easy. And they can get a 4% return on their money. How much money would they have to put in the bank at 4% without ever touching the principal? Let me share my screen. I'll open up a calculator and tell you how to do it. Because at the end of the day, that's a big deal, right? So what did I say? $120,000 a year.
Yep.
Times point.
At 4%, which is high right now.
Yeah.
Still
Doable.
doable.
It's doable. That's $4.8 million. I'd have to have $4.8 million in the bank. I didn't do all my decimals the right way. I'd have to have $4.8 million in the bank in order to take and pull out $10,000 a month and never touch the principal. And I could get 4%. I could do a 2-year treasury right now at 4%.
It's
So
getting
now-
the $4.8 million that they would have the most difficulty with.
Oh, totally. Like people
Yeah.
can't comprehend it. So when you get into like, like people like Brent and, say Jay Kinder and Gene and whatever, they're worth, in the billions. They'd have to have $1 billion put away to be able to do that. Their net worth, if you were to go to a CPA and say, hey, I have this source of cash flow that comes in, it's $10,000 a month, $120,000 a year. How would you show that on my books? And the answer is I would show you, and they would use either a 3.5% or a 4%, whatever it might be at that time. And they would show you that you had an asset worth $4.8 million. That's it. So at the end of the day, they're very wealthy people. So somebody making $10,000 a month at EXP in revenue share is worth almost $5 million. Can we help people get to $10,000 a month?
Yes.
Can we do that easily?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
They have to plug in.
They got to plug in. They got to do the work. I'd show you how to do anything, right? I'm teaching a class on Monday for my group how to get 3 to 5 closings by the end of the year. I guarantee you I have a bunch of people that aren't going to be on that class because they'll think, oh, that's bullshit. Pardon my French. Trust me, I'm going to show them how they could go and get 3 to 5 closings by the end of the year.
Hey, Bob.
Yes.
If I can show you a way to become a multimillionaire real estate agent over the next few short years, would you make time to meet with me? Awesome. Give me a few more inviting questions, because you and I know this is the time of the season to invite.
This is the time of the year. So
This
a
is
lot
the
of what
time
I
of year.
do.
Give me a few more, please.
Right. So a lot of what I do is I just tell me about your business, right? So if you've seen Gene and his teammate, tell me about yourself. It might be tell me about your business. What's that look like? Right. So I did a call for Dave and Tracy this morning, and I said, let's just like cut the crap in real estate, right? Who makes the most money in real estate? Buyer's agent, listing agent. Go
Listing
back to
agent.
whenever, yeah, listing agent at every company, look at the top 10 in every office. It's the listing agent.
Yep.
Right. So what's the number one thing that every real estate agent wants?
Listings.
Leads.
Yep.
So then do they want listing leads or buyer leads? So what I do is I talk about listing leads. Hey, Christy, if we could build a business plan where I would show you, you're going to have to bust your ass. So make no mistake about it. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. And this is kind of how I talk to people too. So the curse words slip out. I'm from South Side of Chicago. It happens. Get a couple of cranberry vodkas in me. You'll see. Anyway, and just say, here's the deal. I can show you how to do it. Here's my biggest concern. I'm not sure you will. So one of the first set of questions I ask with is, hey, Christy, let me ask you, do you consider yourself open-minded? Everybody's going to say what?
Yes.
If I just say to you then, if all I said was EXP, how closed-minded will they suddenly become?
This.
Right? So we don't say that. So the reality of it is the reason I'm saying I asked the question, even though I know it's kind of a lie, because once they say yes, they're open-minded. And then when they're not, I can go, well, Christy, I thought you told me you were open-minded, girl. I mean, did you just not realize that you are closed-minded, or were you just lying to me? Which one? Right. So I have ways.
I didn't know you were talking about real estate, Bob.
Yeah. So yeah, I thought other things. Yeah. Right. So the first one that I asked, now I even lost my train of thought, is
I'm sorry.
are you, oh, that's it. Are you open-minded? The second one is, are you coachable? So here's what I love. Like, people go and talk to Brent. Brent, how'd you do it? Brent's very upfront, tell you exactly how he did it, right? The question is, are you willing to listen to him? Or are you going to go, no, Brent, I think I got a better way. When you say that, you're a damn fool. So are you coachable? And then I'll go, tell me what your income goal is, right? I'll usually go, what did you make last year? And they go, whatever, let's say it's 100,000. How much do you want to make this year? That's a trick question. They're going to 150, 175. They'll go, oh, 200. I want the one who's going to say, I want to do 1 million. I don't know if I'll do it, but I want to do 1 million. That's who I really want to talk to. Great. If I could show you how to do that, would you be coachable? Because then if they say that, I actually know that they'll have the work ethic to do it. Now, it doesn't happen that often, I'll be honest with you. But if they simply would go, hey, 200,000, great. Christy, tell me what that's going to look like for you. What are you going to do? I mean, you worked pretty hard this year, didn't you?
I did.
So what are you going to do next year that's going to double your income?
I'm going to work harder.
So there's two ways that I see that you can make more money. You can work harder, you can work smarter. Which one do you want to do?
I like smarter.
So I can coach you how to work smarter. You're still going to have to work hard the first year, because the truth is, I'm going to hold you to that, because my goal for everybody, I actually have a mission statement that I pull up, or I have when I meet with an agent. Here's my mission statement for you. Tell me if, right, and I usually send it to them before I meet with them. Read that before we meet and see if we're in alignment about what you want to do. Because if we're not, then there's probably not that much for us to talk about. And one of them is that I want to take and increase your business by 100%. Year 2 and 3, I want to spend more time on replacing your transaction income with referral fee income. If we could get it to the point, Christy, that 36 months from now, you were making as much money from referral fees as you were from busting your ass selling real estate, what kind of life would you have?
Much freer.
Would you continue working?
When I wanted, but I could make the choice.
All right,
And
so
I
there's
could-
kind of a trick question, right? Because really what I'm looking for is that answer from her. Because some people, right, look at like Elizabeth Riley, like, an icon for the past 8 years, gazillion dollars in revenue share, and the girl's out there iconing every year. You got to go, God love that woman. Because I think everybody could agree we'd want Elizabeth Riley underneath us if we were being truthful. Right?
Yeah.
She's not available anymore, but God love her, we take her, right? Well, it's asking the right
She's under
question.
me, so I
Yeah.
got to keep working.
Yeah, exactly. So at the end of the day, we have to learn to ask better questions about what it is that you really want. You know, when I do objections, everybody wants me to answer every single objection. And honestly, I can give you good, smart answers, right? But at the end of the day, just like that guy in Denver that wanted to like be an ass to me on stage. And it was like, dude, I got to be honest with you. I wouldn't even talk to you. If you're that big of an ass, I wouldn't even, he's like, yeah, well, you'd miss out on having me. My answer is no, you'd miss out on having me because I don't work with jackasses, is what I said.
Correct.
Guess what, guys? If they can say no to you, why can't you say no to them? Here's what we've learned at EXP. Those that require the most, do the least.
Amen, brother.
Find the ones who require the least and will do the most. So it's okay
like
to say
that.
no sometimes, right?
And I love the saying, we want the people that are looking for us.
Right.
Don't chase them. Those are not the individuals that we want to embrace, because just like you said, they're going to consume the majority of your time and energy when you
Right.
could be
If,
giving it
if
to
I
all
sit
the
down
others.
and I show you a legitimate business process to be able to do what I just promised you, right? Double your income year one, work on this year's 2 and 3. And I gave you the exact way to do it. I gave you a step-by-step plan. This is how you do it. Here's everything that you need to do it. And we're here to coach and help you. And you go, I got to think about it. What's your answer to that? Damn, man, you missed your chance to work with me because I'm the millionaire maker.
Love it.
For me, I don't want to tell you, I don't want to have a big group. So don't get me wrong, I do. But I'd rather have a smaller group of people who produce their butt off, right? Because remember, revenue share comes from revenue. If they're not producing, where's the revenue coming from? So if you focus on production, your revenue share, like I don't have the biggest group. We have the 58th largest group at EXP right now. But guess what? I have a bunch of people that are like 2.5 times bigger than us. Our revenue share is more. Which one's more important to you? I only care about 22nd of the month and what goes in the bank account. And so at the end of the day, just different perspective. That's why we do these calls like that. And you get to listen to different people. You get to decide what makes sense to you. Go, yeah, I like that guy. No, I don't like that guy. I wouldn't do it that way. It's all up to you. You get to structure this business however you want. Tom's got a different personality than me, than Christy, right? Then Rogelio. That's all good, guys. That's not a bad thing. I can tell you things to say, and I can tell you the way that I would say them, but you might not want to say them that way because, well, you might not have the personality to do that, right? I would be what you would consider your South Side of Chicago smartass, that you're never quite sure if I was serious about saying what I just said to you. Because then I laugh at the end and you go, oh, was he serious? But I just delivered a slap across the face. I just laughed at the end. So you might not be able to do it. It's not your personality. Like Tom and I have two, I shouldn't say entirely different, just different personalities. He couldn't say what I say and make it seem sincere. And I can't say what he does and make it seem sincere, because you have to be you when you're talking to people. Don't try and be somebody else. Stop this stuff about being so scripted and whatever. Man, just sit down and try and figure out how the hell you can help somebody. If it's an EXP, cool. If it isn't, cool. Here's what I can tell you guys. It'll pay dividends for years down the road, because they'll go, hey, when I didn't have the time or I couldn't do this or whatever it was, and you were like kind to me, that was enough for them to make that switch. Just figure out how you can help people. It's also a great question to ask people, right? So and you might want to write these down. I'll say them slow. Like for me, I am not a good, like put me in a crowded room and I'm not your chit chat kind of guy, right? I'm a pretty serious, deep personality kind of guy, right? So I had to teach myself how to become a little bit more, chit chatty, if you will. So it starts out this way. Jack, tell me what the biggest headache in your business is. Like if I could solve one thing for you today, right? I could take a genie in a bottle, rub the bottle, and solve one of your problems, your biggest problem. What would that be?
Me.
So tell me about those problems.
I get it in my own way.
So you're the guy I'm talking about in the very beginning, right? You just
Yeah.
can't believe, right? So what are you doing about that?
These days, I think the motivation of what I do with the boys and my sports teams to, like your point about how can I help them and their futures, that resonates with me. And I hope to explain that to them and setting goals. We try to set 3 goals a week for some of these boys. It's not just about sports, it's more than that. But that resonates with me to be more, resonating and motivational and just making shit happen.
So what you're saying is you're a good coach for kids sports, but you just suck at coaching yourself for business. Is that what I just heard?
Yeah, 100%.
So what are you going to do to change that?
I think right now for me, just that detail of writing down goals and focusing on priorities, what I got to get after.
So if that doesn't work, what are you going to do?
Go to Tom Truong's house and wake him up early in the morning and say, come on, man, I need your help.
And I will kick your behind, boy. Let's go.
Right.
And so those are the questions, folks, and how you just work somebody through it. What's the biggest struggle in your business? Now, sometimes it'll just totally turn the table on you. It's like, well, I'll be honest with you. The reason I'm struggling in my business is my kid, one of my kids are sick, or my parents are dying, or whatever it would be, right? Or I'm getting divorced, like all the things in life that can happen, right? They'll take a side route with you. You just have to be adept enough to go, well, gosh, what's that doing for you? The next question should be, how could I help you with that? Forget the recruiting and everything else. Just how could I help you with that? Right. So if somebody said, because I've been in that position where, my son was sick.
Yeah.
The number one question, the ones that meant something to me were like, what help do you need, man? What do you need?
Yeah.
Just stop all the other crap if that happens, because it will happen from time to time. Generally, the number one answer is going to be, what do you think? Hey, what's the biggest struggle in your business?
I need
Not
more
selling enough
leads.
houses.
Leads.
Yeah, I'm not selling enough
Need
houses.
more
Not enough
leads.
leads.
I need more leads. Great. What are you doing to fix that? Right. So that's question number 2. What's your biggest struggle in your business? Number 2 is, what are you doing to fix that? And number 3, if that doesn't work, what will you do? Now, the way that I do it, I could sit there for an hour and give people 100 different ways to do more business. I would just go, hey, Jack, you know what? I'm running tight. I've got another meeting in like 10 minutes. I do have some ideas I think that would help you. Can we take a couple days? Give me till, what is today? Wednesday. Give me till Friday so I can put some ideas together. And how about if we circle back and I'll give you some ways that we can maybe help you with your problems? That work? I'm free on Friday at 11.
I'll be there.
Notice I didn't say, hey, I'm free at 11 or 2. No. I'm going to fix your problem. You're going to meet with me when I want to meet with you. Part of that, guys, is subliminal control. Who's in control of the relationship when that happens?
Mhm.
I just look like an old dumb guy. I'm actually smarter than you think. It's all about controlling the relationship. Because now I just got them to meet with me. Now, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to give them a bunch of ideas. And you go, well, gosh, Bob, what if I don't know how to do that? Then I'm going to call Tom. I'm going to call Christy. I'm going to call Bob. I'm going to call somebody in my upline, whoever it is, who knows how the hell to do it. Julie's here. She knows how to do it, right? And I'm going to call somebody and say, hey, if you had an agent who had this, what would, be 3 things you would tell them to do? What else could you do? You're not the one who knows it. You know what? How about if I do this, Jack? How about if I get my business coach, Tom Truong, on the phone with you and let him walk you through what he helps me with? Would that work for you?
Oh, that's
Yeah,
nice. Yeah.
And now you have, so all of you that are on here going, oh my God, I wouldn't know what to say if, like, oh shit, how would I help people? Like, you don't know that? Guess what? You got people in your upline who do. Use them. Tom is my business coach. This is who I go to when I have headaches. This is the man that I put, in a position to help me and my family, to provide a better life for us. I trust this man with my family. I think he can help you too. Now, when Tom talks to him, what are they thinking? right? It's like the little shining, angel light behind and the,
Uh-huh.
angels singing.
Hey,
He's
Bob,
a
that's a
lifeline.
great, Bob, that's a great point. So explain the importance of the three-way call and edifying somebody else, please.
Yeah, it's a lot of times people think that that's demeaning to you, right? Oh, I got to be the guy who knows everything. No, you don't. Nobody does. The other thing, for all of you guys that have kids of any age, say, I don't know, 6 and up, 6 to the teenage years. How many of you guys have you told, like, Jack, you're a coach? How many times have you told the kids to do something in a certain way and they don't do it? Your kid, and they don't do it that way, right? So when we were teaching my son how to pitch, we taught him how to throw a curveball. He wouldn't do it. He resisted. We even threatened to pull him out of the games. Some other guy from nowhere that we don't even know who the hell he was told him to throw it that way. And the next thing you know, he's snapping off curveballs. It's the way of life. You're just trying to recruit me. You don't know what you're talking about. I looked up your volume, whatever BS you want to put in your head. Cool. Now I don't have to be that guy. So you don't want to be that guy because they'll listen more to Tom or Christy or Bob. They don't know who we are. They'll listen more to us. Why is that? I don't know. It's human nature. Get them on a phone call with somebody else. You don't have to be the source of the solution for everybody. You don't have to be that slick. We got people who can do this, right? And they're smart enough, I promise. If Tom jumped on a call with me and I just, whatever, I didn't know what to do to tell them to do, Tom's not going in and EXPing them to death right away. He's going to figure out what in the world do we need to do to help this guy. That's what we do. I think that's the number one mistake in EXP is you throw up EXP all over everybody. Let me tell you about revenue share. Let me tell you about stock. No. They don't get that. They don't understand it. They don't want to understand it. Here's what they want the answer to. Jack, what are you going to do to help me make sure that next month I got my money coming in to pay my mortgage? That's what they're thinking.
Bob, that is spot on, man. I mean,
Yep.
literally over the past 2 weeks as I coach agents to attract and to invite, and it's exactly that. Guys,
Yeah.
listen to what Bob just said, right? Find out their why. What are their dreams? What are their goals? What are their aspirations? What do they want to achieve? What are their challenges? And we can help solve those problems. There's nothing business related that we cannot help solve.
Now, we have too many. Here's the cool part within our 86,000 agents and even the people on this call, you got 1, 2, 3, 4. Am I missing anybody? Maybe not. I don't think so. We got 4 people that I could tell you, included myself, would be 5. We got 5 people on this call that I can promise you we could help anybody with any headache that came up in the real estate business. So it doesn't have to be about you. And I think the biggest mistake people make is doing that. So when I said to Jack, hey, you know what? I'm going to put some ideas together. I'm going to take and have Tom on the call. And you know what? Hey, Jack, I was talking to my business coach, Tom, about your problem. And he says, well, why don't you get me on a call with him?
Yeah.
Let me talk to him. Let me see what I can do. Now, Tom charges big bucks every month. I mean, I love him to death, but he charges me big money to coach, Starbucks coffee. But he wanted to help you. When I told him about some of the struggles you were having, he said, you know what, let me help this guy. What did you just make Tom now? Right? The angel singing, right? The lights coming out from behind him, right? And guess what? It changes the whole dynamic of that call.
Yeah.
So don't put all that pressure on yourself to have all the answers.
That's right. And the message for that, guys, it goes beyond that, right? When you peel back the onion, the answer goes beyond that, because let's say you are a rock star like Bob Mangold is and Krista Davidson is, right? Let's say you are that rock star. And you are the end all. The buck stops with you. Guess what? They might be thinking to themselves, my goodness, I can't be as good as Bob. I definitely can't be as good as Christy. So they can do it. You can do it, but I cannot do it. So when you get someone else on the line as a 3-way call, they say, oh my goodness, all Jack did was get someone else on the call and they solved the problem. I can do that. I can be like Jack.
Yeah. Guys, I just had a call with Gene probably 6 weeks ago. I asked you, hey, Gene, can you jump on this call with me?
That's right.
So don't be afraid of doing that. You don't have to have the answers, but I'm going to kind of go back to that scenario. Let's say that I meet with them, because I do. I'll meet with them. I'll give them like 2 or 3 good ideas to be able to do more business. And then I'll say, you know what, why don't we do this, Tom? Let's schedule a week. Can you get that stuff done in the next week? And let's circle back next Thursday, next Friday, whatever it is, and give me an update on how you did with it. I just scheduled the third meeting and I haven't talked to him about it. I just finished 2 and scheduled the third. And I've never even talked to him about EXP.
Right.
By osmosis, coach them before you become their coach. Be their broker before they become, before they actually make that move. If you'll do that to help them, then do it. The way that I built what I built, I taught classes. And then I would hang around. We would do 3-day events. So I teach all this stuff on Monday about doing business. I got very good at being able to drop in things about EXP. And on Monday night, we'd all go out to dinner afterwards and then go back to the hotel and, have some cocktails for a little bit. Tuesday, I'd teach again all day. 5 o'clock, we broke. We had pizzas come in. We had alcohol come in, and everybody hung out and had this kind of relationship building time. And guess what? They would come up. It's like, well, and so remember, guys, we're like agent 1003. So this wasn't like now where people know what EXP is or who and all that. Like nobody had heard of us. And they will, well, tell me about that company that you're with. And so at the end of the day, that's where we built those relationships. Some of them didn't come immediately, within 2-3 months, but they'd have a question. Hey, I'm struggling in this. I didn't do my listing presentation right, whatever it was. And they would just call me and I would answer.
Mhm.
That's how we built what we built. We have to go back to that. We personally have to go back to that again. And we had a blast doing it. COVID kind of stopped the way we did that. But guess what? We have to do exactly what I'm just telling you. We have to go back and do the same kind of thing. Because that's what, that's what I'm good at anyway. We all have different skills. So.
And Tom just put into the chat box too, because we want to respect everyone's time. If you have any questions for our master, well, go ahead and ask him now.
Yeah, I know a little bit more than just answering objections too, by the way. So.
By the way,
I know you do.
I actually want to amplify on the point you made though, Bob. It's about relationships and the people
is.
that you affect in your life. And all of you guys as real estate professionals, you work with real estate professionals every single day. And there's those that you see in the field that that probably think about you and how, was that a good deal? Was it not? Was it not? And ideally it's a good deal. And where I'm going with that is actually we have an agent that's joining our rev share group in the next probably next week, in process right now. And when I talked to him afterwards, and I was like, why, thank you for coming with us, but why? He's like, because I've worked with you guys over the last year or two, and I like the way you do business, and it just makes sense that I would come to work with you guys. We had never really ever talked about joining EXP, joining our team, joining our rev share group. But ultimately, we had talked about, he knew how we lived, he knew who we were. And when he made his decision, he's like, I'm coming with you guys, and I'm coming to EXP because I like working with you.
It's about the relationship, guys.
It's relationships.
And every time we are in a transaction or at a realtor function, and I encourage you all to put that as high priority, is get involved, go to all the realtor functions, go to the builder functions, and start getting in relationships with agents. Don't say a word, because you'll figure out, just by building the relationship, what's important to them, looking at what's on Facebook, what's on Instagram. And it's interesting. I've gotten rid of I'm a very high D. I'm like, what's wrong with you?
You are? I did not know that. I didn't know that.
Hard to
I
believe.
will come home. I will come home so frustrated. I'm like, I just showed them on a piece of paper. They're paying 100,000 more. They could. What's wrong with these people? Well, anyway, so I've gotten a little bit better about asking the appropriate questions and asking and not just assuming that the elevator doesn't go all the way up, but really finding out what their why is, because just like you said, that's what matters. And you peel back the onion and
Here's another question I just thought of literally while we're talking
Okay.
for them. Hey, Christy, if you didn't have to pay your broker, how much would you pay him?
nothing.
Then why are you
That's
paying
a
him?
good one.
Thanks. I just thought of that one right now.
Okay,
Right? 'Cause,
hang on.
like for me, I'm not, listen, I'm not the one who walks into a room and just talks to everybody and I'm hugging people before. That's just not who I am, right? If I tried to do that, it would come off as fake. But somewhere in a conversation, if I just asked, hey, Christy, how much would you pay your broker if you didn't have to?
That's good.
Right? The other one right now, because it's kind of convenient because of the market, is to say to somebody, hey, Tom, how's the shift affected your business and your cash flow?
I like that.
You know,
Yeah.
what backstops have you put into your business so that when the market, right? Because markets are always good and markets are always bad, right? It's never this for 50 years. It's this. What backstops have you put in place to be able to make up on the cash flow for those bad markets?
That's really good.
And so here's the other thing I will tell you, folks, get very skilled at asking questions. Like if you actually see me do a call, you would be shocked, right? Or at least people that know me think I'm going to get up on just like blast and answer all this stuff. I don't say very much. I just ask a bunch of questions. I go, huh, that's interesting. Why do you do it that way? Right? So people are like, dude, I can't believe that was you on that call. It was like, you didn't do anything, but guess what? You just kept moving them down the road. That's why when you do a three-way call, by the way, let me help you with this one. This is how three-way calls work. You introduce, you edify the speaker, and you turn your volume off and you say nothing else ever again. Because if you do, those of us who've been doing this for a while, we know what we're doing. We know where we're leading them. And the minute you say something, you just took it off track. And then we have to figure out how to come and bring that back. Your job is to introduce and be quiet and let us do our thing. And I promise if you do that, it'll work out 1,000 times better, right, Tom? Because I know it happens to you too. For me, my people know, hey, if you do it to me once, I'll just give you a warning. You do it to me twice, I just won't do a three-way call with you again. It's wasting my time. We're not going to get them. You keep messing it up. Because we know where we're going with the questions. I promise, I ask the questions. I know 5 questions in advance what I'm going to say, because I'm leading them to a path. And then somebody opens, their mouth and says something, and you totally took them away from what I was leading to. So if you want to be successful at those three-way calls, introduce and get out of the way. Right? So you can see everybody's shaking their head.
Great advice.
Right?
It's the edification, Bob.
Yep.
Have you ever bought a car? Have you ever been ready to leave the dealership and not buy the car? But my manager would just like to visit with you and meet you once. Did you leave with the car? Probably did.
Yep. And so at the end of the day, that one just popped into my head because it happens all the time. And we tell people to this day, like if I do a call with Gene, I introduce him and I don't say a word. Now, if Gene asks me a question, I'll answer it, but I do not interrupt ever. If I do it with Brent, I've done calls with Brent, I don't say anything unless they ask me a question. And so it doesn't matter how good you are. And I know Tom does the same thing. Chris does the same. If we're doing that with somebody, Scott Lewis or whoever it is, that's how we do it. Exactly. We practice what we preach, I promise.
And the person doing the three-way call knows when to pull you back in and edify you at the right
Right.
time and get
Yep.
your input at the right time. Yeah.
Yep. So just trust that person.
Awesome. Guys, what else do we have going on? We've got 6 minutes left, then I'm having dinner.
Or you'll be even skinnier.
All right, guys, come on, bring it. You got the best of the best on here. What's on your mind about revenue share?
Mine is learning to ask more questions and be quiet.
Right. So like right
Silence
now we're asking
is
questions
Okay.
and nobody's answering. So here's the skill of this stuff. Don't say anything. It's up to you guys. You got 6 minutes. I charge a lot of money per hour to talk to me. You got 6 minutes of me for free, and yet you're all just sitting there and not asking anything. Why?
Bob,
I
I
can't
don't know
bite you
about
on Zoom.
Bob, I'm not sure about the rest of the team on here, but I'm cranking up my live lunch and learns. I'm traveling in December more than ever because I know this is the time where agents are making decisions.
Right.
Give us more. I want more of how do the audience here, how do the 23 others on this call invite to live events that's happening around the country? If you look at my name on this Zoom call, the website right there, I have all of my live events. All of you are welcome to invite agents to these live lunch and learns. Bob, give us in the last 3 minutes, how do these agents professionally invite to live lunch and learns around the world?
So I might do mine a little differently than some others. So I'm just going to give you that caveat. So next week in Southern California, I'm doing one next Wednesday. And I teach a class. And so the class is how to become the dominant listing agent in this market. If you actually watch me do it, I don't bring up EXP at all. EXP does not even come up. Now, I have craftily put it into a few scripts about, listings. Hey, this is Bob with EXP Realty. Is your house still available? That kind of thing. But short of that, I don't say anything about it. If you like what we're talking about how I can help you learn how to take more listings, then you can schedule a call with me. And here's how you do that. And I'm going to send them to a page where they answer a bunch of questions. And then if they're the right people, we'll call and schedule a time to talk to them. And then everything is about them. Hey, tell me about your business. Hey, it says that you did whatever, 3 million last year. Are you happy with that volume? What are you doing? Before I bring anything up, I want to find out, do I actually want to work with those people? Right? I'm old enough now to say, you know what? I can pick and choose who I want to work with. I want to have fun with the people I work with, right? So Tom and I and Christy and Bob, we all get together, like we have a blast, right? That's what this is about now. So I get to pick that. And so we're going to do the same thing. Even if you invited, here's what happens. Hey, who invited you to this lunch and learn? Oh, Bob McGee did. Bob and I are going to get on the phone call and we're going to talk to them and we're going to bring them through their business. What's their business look like? What are they, right? And through those questions, I'll be able to take and convert that for those that we want. And that's how we do it. I do everything by teaching first. And for me, I always joke, listen, I don't look like Brad Pitt. I'm not particularly charming. I'm a D personality from the south side of Chicago. I can be coarse. I'll say it that way, right? Michelle always says, if you don't want to know what Bob's thinking, don't ask him. Because if you ask him, he's going to tell you, right? And so all I can walk out with is, damn, that guy was smart. Whether that was a listing presentation, a buyer presentation, any of it, if I can walk out and they can go, man, that guy's smart, he can take me where others can't, then I did my job.
Awesome.
And that's how I look at it. So my skill in life or whatever, you have to be like, listen, I don't look like Brad Pitt. That's just the way it is, right? And you can say it's important or it's not important. It's important. But guess what? I don't have that. So I got to make up for it with something. I'm not the most charming guy in the world either. So I got to make up for that for my friends that know me and they know that's not true. But guess what? If you can make it up with what you know up here, be so good that people want to work with you, you don't have to attract anybody. That is what's attractive. You want to attract, become attractive.
Mhm.
Hey, Bob,
I
I might put you up there with getting as much or more residual income than Brad Pitt per month.
Yeah, you're probably right there.
He doesn't have the divorce record. Hey,
Yeah.
So Bob, 2023, what are your top three thoughts coming into 2023? Big tips coming in.
I actually think it's a great market to start pulling market share. In down markets, the successful people gain market share.
Amen.
They're doing right when everybody else is running for the exits.
Yep.
Who's running into the fire?
Right
And
here.
that's going to be the people that will make a difference. The down markets are when people get rich, right? How many people in 08 and 09 and 10 that became extremely wealthy because they were buying real estate out the wazoo at like pennies on the dollars?
Yep.
Right.
Right. I've been preaching to EXP agents like, guys, get your cash flow in order, get your revenue share in order. So when the market changes, now we're not having an 08, 9, or 10. So don't get me wrong. That's not, be in a position where you can pull the trigger if you see a good deal come along.
Yep.
Right. So the people that are running for the exits, let them run. Guess what, guys? When the market comes back, right? Because everybody's like, well, we lose agents and whatever, like our revenue share group goes down in numbers. Well, it's all people not doing anything. So, I don't want to necessarily lose people, don't get me wrong. But at the end of the day, the people that are sticking around, they're gaining market share. And then when the market explodes again, they're going to be doing more business than ever because there's less people that are being real estate agents.
Correct.
Exactly.
It's actually a great time to improve your skills, and it's a great time to go out and start building market share. And then what you build now, hey, is our revenue share down right now? It absolutely is, right? We're not doing as many transactions at 7.5 interest that we did at 3. It's just logical, right? But at the end of the day, if you come through that strong and you continue to take and grow and you continue to expand your skills, when that market does come back, there's going to be less people to take the business, right? Little Johnny went and got a real estate license because he, got a relative or two who buys a house. Guess what? They're not going to little Johnny anymore to buy or sell a house. They're coming to the realtors that were there. So a lot of people look at this market and go, oh, this is so scary and whatever. I just look at it and go, damn, what an opportunity.
Yep.
And you look
And
at it.
here's the good news, guys, because I'm kind of a geek on, like mortgage bonds and things like that. Early next year, like end of the first quarter, maybe early second quarter, you'll have interest rates down into the mid to low 5s again.
Yep.
Well,
Agreed.
guess what? 3 to 7 scared the crap out of people, right? It's mental, right? Because I'm old enough, unfortunately, that I remember interest rates being 18% and people are still buying houses. But I know that means I'm a dinosaur. I got it. But at the end of the day, psychologically, 3 to 7, when that happened, I knew we would always have an issue. But now 7 becomes, oh my God, that was so bad. If we go back to 5.5, everybody go, damn, 5.5, woo.
Oh yeah.
You see it coming out of the woodwork. Be prepared.
Love
Take
it,
the
love it,
right
love it.
now to tighten up your business, tighten up your skills, and get better now. So when the market changes, you're going to own it.
Hey, Bob, and I think tighten the cash flow. Look at the company as well. For those that have the equity piece in this, guys, you're in a declining market in a certain way, but you're in a company that's still continuing to grow on the top line and no debt on the balance sheet. I mean, this is a company to grow with.
Yep.
When it rebounds, percentage wise, our market cap continues to grow out, and gosh, I'm looking forward to the next couple of years.
When everybody
Me
else
too.
is afraid is when I get excited.
Love it.
You are excited. I can see it in your
I know.
eyes, Bob.
I know.
Oh yeah.
All right, guys, listen, it's a wrap. Christy Davidson, thank you
Yes.
for being an awesome host tonight. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You are a rock star as always. Thank you, Julie Nelson, our icon, for sharing and teaching. And then thanks to you, Bob, for the revenue share quick start. Love what you did. I learned a couple of new things tonight, which I'm going to execute this week.
All right.
Next
cool.
week.
Well, then I did
Next
my
week.
job, man.
You did your
Right.
job. Next week, December 7th, we are back. I have the pleasure of hosting next week the entire show. Scott Ziegler is our icon agent. He's going to be teaching how he crushes real estate sales and how to properly leverage social media in 2023 to build a massive sales business. Then EXP Explained is being done by 3 rock stars, Tony Camarelli, Lisa Parento, and Barbara Legg. They're from Detroit, from San Diego, and from Massachusetts. And I'm going to teach the 6 steps of recruiting to develop $500,000 in annual revenue share income in the next 5 years, just working 2 hours a day. That is next week's Big Win Wednesday. We repeat, we don't miss any Wednesday in December. We're not taking a break because this is a time to capture massive market share. We do it again after December 7th on December 14th, again on December 21st, again on December 28th. Take a Christmas break if you like, but I am not because I'm capturing massive market share, and I think most of you will too. Thank you
Totally.
and good night.
See you guys.
Thank you.